and welcome to BQ Prime. You're watching Earnings with BQ. And my guest today is Mr. Ramana, Executive Vice President and Head of Branded Formulations, India and Emerging Markets. So thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
So my first question is, Dr. Reddy's has registered an extremely strong growth on the US front. So what has aided this growth? Is there some one-off in the numbers?
So, of course, in terms of the growth, we did get the support from the generic Revlimid in terms of sales. But at the same time, we've also had good growth in terms of the base business. And while supporting the US sales, we've also had good sales in Russia, both in terms of the base business as well as the institutional tender-based biosimilar business as well.
So how would you guide us going forward? Because I believe in the last quarter when we had this conversation, you guided us for a single-digit growth in the US. So how do we see it going forward?
So in terms of the base business, as I said, we expect to launch anywhere between 20 to 25 products for the full financial year. That should drive our growth on the base business. And we do expect that the generic Revlimid opportunity will continue for the next couple of quarters as well.
And so any percentage guidance?
We don't give the forward guidance.
Okay. So on the China markets, I think Dr. Reddy's was expecting certain approvals in Q3 and Q4. So where are we on that? And what is the status? And how do you see the competition? Because there's a lot of talk in the market that there's competition in China.
Sure. So in terms of the number of filings, which we are now benchmarking ourselves with the best of class Chinese companies, we feel good in terms of where we stand today in terms of filings, both through our joint venture, KRRP, as well as a rep office. In terms of the approvals, we started to get the approvals, we started to participate in the tenders, and we started to launch the products into the market. In this quarter too, we do expect both the filings and the approvals to come through. In terms of competition, I think the competition has always been there when it comes to the GPO products. I think it's about how are you building in terms of your portfolio strength, and second is how many of the products that you are registering you're able to make it to the first GPO. I think these are the two, I would say, the important KPIs that we will continue to monitor.
So if we had to look at the future growth drivers for Dr. Reddy's, what are the parameters that we should be looking at?
Sure. So I think in terms of both I would say the way in which we have had the two growth levers, I would say, both in terms of the US business as well as the branded business, which is India and emerging markets, both of them continue to do well. And this was a de-risking that we had done a couple of years back, which I think is working out well. But in terms of how we expect the growth to play out, I think there is still a good amount of room to improve the productivity in our base businesses. That's what we're working on. Whether the way in which we have digitized, the way in which we're looking at the process excellence and building the capabilities to drive the productivity. The second, I would say, is how are we building for the future in terms of the moves that we're making on Horizon 2. Starting with India and then going into the other markets, we'll continue to invest into Horizon 2 and build businesses that are more innovative. So driving productivity in Horizon 1 and building the businesses that are more innovative, more branded in Horizon 2 is the way in which one could expect our focus into the next couple of years.
If you could guide us with regards to Horizon 2, maybe give us more color into what exactly are we targeting, what therapy areas are we looking at, what sort of molecules are we looking at?
Sure. So if you see for a good number of years that we have been having deep understanding of the therapies that we are operating in and trying to say which gold standard should we bring in as far as the generics are concerned. As we now look into more holistically in terms of the disease management, whether it is in the form of getting in access to NCs and NBs, or getting in and supporting clinically differentiated nutritional products that would help in the illness to the wellness journey, or could be in the form of digital therapeutics or condition management that could aid and manage the disease holistically. I think there would be several of these initiatives, whether it is in the form of NCNBs, CAR-T, nutrition, digital therapeutics, condition management, that will play out for us. India is a focus market. So a lot of these innovations, we will actually experiment and see which of this would scale, and we will take these learnings into the other markets.
So how will the contribution from geographies change? I mean, since India is becoming the more focal market, and when do you see these playing out?
So if you take in terms of maybe 5 years back, we did have a greater reliance on the US market. Today, I think while the US market continues to grow very healthy, we do have a healthy growth from India and emerging markets. And we have stated that our focus, number one focus market, would be India. That is where we are making our efforts to try and get into the top 5. That would be through a series of productivity measures. It would be the way in which we would support in terms of the portfolio and some of the Horizon 2 moves. So I think a combination of that plus some of the inorganic growth should get us there. So that's the aspiration.
So on the CDMO front, this time, in fact, our PSAI segment has done well. So what is the growth that we're envisaging on the CDMO front, and how is that working?
So if you take in terms of CDMO business, it is relatively small as compared to what Dr. Reddy's is in terms of totality. We do see traction in terms of what is happening with our partners, what is happening to these molecules. But it will take some time to see how they would move from various phases, and then that will start to show up meaningfully in terms of revenues.
So have we had any advantages coming in from the PLI scheme? And can you just elaborate of how it will sit in our financials and how do we look at it? And any mergers and acquisition plans as well, because we have a lot of cash in hand.
Sure. So the PLI scheme has definitely, it's a good scheme and it has helped us. And the way in which the PLI scheme along with the duty drawback scheme has helped us has already been stated in our financials. In terms of mergers and acquisitions, as we have stated, we will only look for opportunities that will fit our strategy. That is going to be complementary to what we are doing. And that's what we will continue to look for, those opportunities in our focus markets.
So what market are we targeting here? Is it India? Because India is going to be the focus market going forward.
If you take within our spaces today, our number one focus market is India. But if you take the overall in terms of a focus, we do have focus in terms of US, in terms of Germany, Brazil, Russia, China. So we have a set of large focus markets for Dr. Reddy's. So we will continue to look for opportunities as long as it is complementary and it is making business sense for us.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Moral.